Are you the kind of person who struggles to save money? Does your paycheck arrive and immediately vanish, spent on credit card installments for purchases you barely remember? Do you feel that no matter how hard you try to save, something always gets in the way? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you're not alone. Recently, household debt hit an all-time high of $18 trillion. In today's video, based on scientific studies, I'll share the best techniques for saving money. You'll understand why our brains sabotage our saving efforts and learn scientifically proven strategies to genuinely start saving. No magic formulas, no guesses, just facts and science. Before we dive in, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. This helps YouTube recommend more content like this to you. The video will be divided into two main parts. First, we'll understand why saving money is so painful from a scientific perspective. Then we'll explore techniques that go beyond guesswork and are scientifically proven to help you save money. Without further ado, let's jump into part one. Why saving money is so painful. Behavioral economics studies show that our brains suffer from what's called present bias. What does that mean? It means we tend to prefer immediate rewards over future benefits. In other words, spending now feels better than saving for later, even though rationally we know we should save. You've probably heard about the marshmallow experiment. Children could either eat one marshmallow immediately or wait a few minutes to receive two. To an extent, this makes sense. Here's an example. Would you rather spend $100 now or spend $100 a year from now? Logically, you'd prefer spending $100 now because considering interest rates, the price of money over time, $100 today is worth more than $100 a year from now. Now let me rephrase the question. Would you prefer spending $100 now or $500 a year from now? Here, there's an immediate reward versus a larger future benefit. It's like the marshmallow experiment. One marshmallow now or two later. Yet, many children still chose immediate gratification, just as many people would prefer spending $100 today instead of $500 next year. This is present bias, causing people to make short-term decisions. Additionally, people struggle to visualize those future $500 clearly. $100 today feels real, but $500 in the future is abstract, making it difficult for our brains to grasp. This proves one thing: our brain is lazy. Researchers Brigitte Madrian and Dennis Shea published a study in 2001 titled The Power of Suggestion in the Quarterly Journal of Economics. They analyzed behavior among around 7,000 employees at Hewitt Associates, a U.S. human resource consulting firm. The study aimed to see how small changes in retirement plan enrollment affected participation rates. Initially, employees had to actively choose to enroll in the retirement plan. Only 37% did so within 6 months of being hired. Then the company switched to automatic enrollment. New hires were automatically enrolled with a 3% salary contribution unless they opted out. The results changed drastically. Participation jumped from 37% to 86%. This study demonstrated that our brains are indeed lazy. Inertia and procrastination are the real culprits behind our struggles to save. People aren't against saving. They simply can't clearly see the long-term benefits and won't save if it requires significant effort. So the simple solution is to automate savings and eliminate effort, effectively tricking our brains. More on this shortly. Another enemy is the status quo bias. Remember Newton's first law? Maybe you forgot your high school physics, but let me remind you. Newton's first law states that an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an external force. Imagine pushing a car. Initially, it's tough because the car is stationary. Once it's moving, however, it keeps rolling with ease. Our finances and brains work the same way. We struggle to change habits and prefer to maintain the current state. If you're not used to saving money, your brain will resist changing this habit unless a trigger, decision, or strategy breaks the inertia. In the Hewitt Associates study, employees had to actively enroll in retirement plans, and most didn't, purely due to inertia. In short, saving money hurts. It goes against what your brain wants. We're predisposed to spend now and defer saving decisions. Breaking this cycle is tough. Understand that difficulty in saving isn't a lack of character. It's human. But the good news, knowing this allows us to use the same tactics our brain uses to trick us, to trick it instead, and finally start saving. Now, on to the second part of the video. What are the techniques that go beyond guesswork and are scientifically proven to help you save money? Well, the first one is don't create a budget. I know many people will criticize me and not understand why I'm advising against budgeting, but hear me out. There's a cognitive bias some researchers call budget neglect. The idea behind this bias is that many people create budgets on paper, but end up overspending and completely ignoring their budget after a few months. You've probably done this. You make an impressive plan to save money or even to invest. You start recording everything either on paper or in an Excel spreadsheet. And after a month, you're already tired of doing this and give up. In 2019, Irrational Labs, in collaboration with Duke University's Common Sense Lab, conducted an experiment proving the same point. They took 9,035 people and divided them into different groups. Some created weekly budgets, others budgeted by category, others simply tracked their spending using their bank statements, and so on. Do you know what they discovered? After analyzing these 9,000 people for 13 weeks, they found no difference difference at all. Regardless of the type of budgeting used, by the end of 13 weeks, everyone was spending on average 30 to 40% above their self-imposed limits. So creating a budget alone might help you in the short term, but it's unlikely you'll stick to one for long. The point of this first part, although having a budget might help you save some money, you'll rarely follow it exactly. Keeping a budget requires significant effort and a habit that many people don't have. And even those who do have this habit eventually break their plans at some point. It's like the person who pays for a gym membership, visits a nutritionist, follows a meal plan to lose weight, and yet doesn't strictly follow the plan, indulging in sweets here and there, and eventually complaining about not losing weight. You surely know someone who's done this, so you know well that even with a plan, your brain will sabotage you. That's where the second scientific money-saving technique comes in. Just like the person who joins the gym and consults a nutritionist but doesn't stick to the plan needs a personal trainer. If you want to save money, you need a financial trainer, and that's the second technique, having a financial advisor. A Canadian study called The Gamma Factor and the Value of Financial Advice tracked 1,584 families, 487 with financial advisors and 1,097 without. The results showed that families who maintained a financial advisor for 15 years or more accumulated 290% more wealth than families without one. One of the reasons explaining this difference was that families who had help managed to save an average of 10.75% of their income annually compared to just 6.7% among those without help. In other words, having someone by your side helps you save and invest much more money. But besides having someone guiding you to maintain a balanced budget, there's a third technique you can apply in your daily life, using psychology to your advantage. So far, I've shown you in the video that your brain tricks you. It's lazy and will do everything possible to convince you not to save even a penny of your income. But the same traps your brain uses against you can be leveraged to trick it into helping you save more. Here are 4 practical, scientifically supported methods. The first method is using cash. Have you noticed that paying with cash sometimes feels painful compared to using a card? This isn't just your imagination. It's science. Researchers Priya Raghubir and Joydeep Srivastava conducted a series of experiments in 2008 on how payment methods affect spending behavior. In one study, published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology, they gave some participants vouchers, like shopping coupons, and others cash to spend in a simulated store environment. They concluded that those using vouchers or coupons, who didn't physically see the money leaving their wallets, spent more than those who paid with cash. Another study from Carnegie Mellon University called Pain of Paying reached a similar conclusion. According to this study, different payment methods cause varying levels of psychological pain when spending. When paying with cash, your brain activates regions associated with pain or fear. But when paying with a credit card, your brain activates regions associated with happiness and pleasure. Crazy, isn't it? It's the same money leaving your account. But simply by changing how it leaves, your brain interprets it as either painful or pleasurable. And just to be clear, I'm not telling you to stop using installment payments. When used wisely, credit cards offer many benefits. Protection against inflation, the ability to invest the money until payments are due, earning points and miles, etc. But if you lack control, you'll end up spending more than you should, becoming indebted, and what was supposed to be an advantage will become a trap. In short, if you need strict financial control because you're prone to overspending with a card, pay in cash. If you have more discipline, use a credit card and pay in installments, but always stay vigilant because, as I've shown, your brain interprets this as pure dopamine pleasure. The second way to save is using the envelope method. Researcher Richard Thaler refers to this as mental accounting. According to him, our brains naturally separate money into mental compartments, and we can use this to our advantage. For example, a 2011 study by Dilip Soman and Amar Chima, published in the Journal of Marketing Research, titled Earmarking and Partitioning: Increasing Saving by Low-Income Households, involved 146 workers in India. Participants were randomly divided into 2 groups. One group received a single envelope with their total earnings. The other group received 2 separate envelopes, one for savings and one for daily expenses. Additionally, some envelopes featured photos of the participants' children as reminders of why they were saving. After 14 weeks, workers who received 2 envelopes saved on average 414 rupees, while those with a single envelope saved 241 rupees, a 72% increase for the 2 envelope group. The logic here is that by separating money, you create a psychological barrier to spending it. It's as if your brain treats this money as untouchable, unlike the money available in your daily account. Applying this method is easy. You could have 2 separate bank accounts, one for each goal. Or, if you prefer, you could use multiple separate envelopes within the same bank. The third technique you can leverage using psychology to your advantage is reducing accessing liquidity. When people start investing, they usually look for assets with liquidity, meaning they can withdraw their money anytime. It's like a savings account. There's nothing wrong with that. When you're building your emergency fund, covering 6 to 12 months of your monthly living expenses, liquidity is crucial to address any unforeseen financial obligations. However, when it comes to saving money beyond your emergency fund, it's beneficial not to have high liquidity. Here's why. A study conducted in the Philippines in 2006 involved around 1,700 bank clients. Half were given the option to open an account where the deposited money couldn't be withdrawn until reaching a specific goal or a predefined deadline. The other half didn't have this restriction. They could withdraw their funds at any time. Researchers monitored these 1,700 individuals' balances over 12 months. The result was that participants who chose the less liquid account increased their savings by 81% compared to the group with immediate access. This shows that when you restrict access to your money, you end up saving significantly more. Your brain will trick you. It will prompt you to withdraw funds to buy something you probably don't even need. That's why you must protect yourself from yourself. I'm not suggesting you only invest in illiquid assets. However, after establishing your emergency fund, which we have a video about on our channel, you might consider keeping some funds with longer withdrawal periods. The fourth and final technique is automating your bank app. Remember at the beginning of the video when I mentioned automating your savings process? To remove the effort, essentially outsmarting your brain. There are numerous ways to achieve this, and I can create a video exclusively about my favorite techniques. Let me know in the comments if you'd watch that. But recall that I mentioned your brain is lazy. If you automate your savings, you'll leverage this laziness to your advantage. You'll begin saving money, perhaps without even remembering you're regularly setting aside part of your salary. Well, that's it for today's video, folks. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.